Right. Let's see what is a gradient. Right. If I take this x and y axis coordinate plane, so if I draw a straight line, right, you can see an inclination. The wording and inclination, right? Right. So if someone is climbing up throughout the straight line, you can see that it is having an inclination, right? But when the straight line is in this manner, right, then the climbing up this straight line, right, is bit difficult. That means the inclination is more here, right? But the inclination is less here. But when we have a straight line, that way you can see that climbing up this straight line is bit easy rather than this 1 and 2, right? So it means here the inclination is bit less, right? When I draw a graph in this way, you can see that the climbing up is very easy rather than 1, 2, and 3. So that means when the inclination is more, right, it is having a difficulty to climb up, right? So what we know that the gradient is a concept similar to this inclination, right? If the inclination is more, that means the gradient is more, right? So we know that if the inclination is an acute angle up to 90 degree, right? So you know that the inclination may increase up to 90 degree, right? After that, it convert an obtuse angle, not an acute angle, right? It create obtuse angle. So the inclination, if it is an acute angle, right, it means up to 90, we should know that the gradient is like a positive value. But the positive value getting increased when the inclination is more. Imagine the angle with the x-axis. If it is more, the inclination is more, right? Okay, right. So that is the concept. So now you know what is the positive gradient. It is having a acute angle with the x-axis. But if it is having obtuse angle, right, that inclination, the gradient become negative. So understand, right? If it is more than 90 degree with the x-axis, like the inclination this way, it becomes negative gradient, right? So now by looking into the graph, you can determine whether it is having a positive gradient or negative gradient, right? Understand that one, okay? Right, right. Now we are moving to the other part. You can see it. So now you know how to identify the gradient sign, right? So I will draw few sketch to you, right? This is x and y coordinate plane. So you can see there. So what is the positive or negative? Positive value. This is positive value. But when it like in this way, right, the gradient is negative. M is negative, right? So because in the exam, sometimes you may receive answers for the gradient in this type of inclination, a positive value, but mistakenly if you have taken a negative value, now you can understand it cannot be negative because the graph is in this way. But the graph is by this way, the gradient shall be negative, right? So bit an idea what is the gradient and what is the sign with the inclination with the x-axis, right? Okay, now we will identify how to find the gradient, right? You can sketch up any notes, right, regarding this one, right, but your own notes. Then I will ask some questions, right? Okay, see now here, we have a straight line segment, right? I will take 2 points there. So to find the inclination or the gradient, we require 2 points, right? If we have 2 points only, we can find out the gradient, right? Imagine here the point is 2, 1, and here the point is 5, 3, 5, 3, right? So the gradient is defined as the inclination with the x-axis, but it is not the inclination, it is the tan value of the inclination. In future, if you do A-level maths, you can identify clearly what is the tan theta or the gradient further. But in your level, I will introduce very basic concept, right? So tan theta means the gradient, right? So you will take the height, this vertical height, and it shall be divided by the horizontal length, right? So how to find this vertical height? You know that here the value, the y coordinate is the second one, that is 3, and x coordinate, y coordinate of this point is 1. So the y coordinate means this whole height, here 3, and here y coordinate means this side, that is 1. But we require this distance that gives you by the 3 subtract 1. Okay, x coordinate of this point mean from here origin, the total distance that gives you 5, and here x coordinate is 2, that gives you this distance 2. So what is the distance in between these 2 points is 5 subtract 2. Right, now you have seen the gradient is tan theta, that shall be the 3 minus 1 upon 5 minus 2. Okay, so now how you determine it? Right, 3 minus 1 is what? 3 is the y coordinate of this point, and 1 is the y coordinate of this point. So that means the gradient has given by y coordinate difference, y coordinate difference, y coordinate difference, right? Divide by the 5 minus 2 means this difference, that is x coordinate difference, x coordinate difference, right? So as a conclusion, now you have built up an equations for the gradient. So what is the gradient? Y coordinate difference over x coordinate difference. So this is the gradient. Right. පැහැදිලිද? ඒතර මේක තමයි equation එක. හැමෝම මතක තියාගන්න. ආයෙ පාරක් මොකද්ද? Y coordinate difference divide by the x coordinate difference. So if it is exchange මේක මාරු වුණොත් හරියද? X difference or y difference value එන්නේ නැහැ. ඒ වගේම අපි බලමු දැන් y difference එක ගන්න ඕනේ බලන්න. හොඳට බලන්නකෝ y difference එක අරන් තියෙන්නේ මෙහෙන් 3 subtract 2 1. So the x difference also to be started with in that way 5 subtract 2. So you cannot write 3 subtract 1 divide by 2 subtract 5. So if you move forward in this way, right, for the y difference, for the x difference also this way. Right. If you come up with this way for y difference, x difference also this way, right? You cannot exchange this directions, right? You took x coordinate y difference in this way and x coordinate this way. So it is incorrect, right? These are the correct path. මොකද මම එක්සෑම් වල දැකලා තියෙනවා ගොඩක් ළමයි ඔය ඩිෆරන්ස් එක මාරු කරනවා y එක පැත්තකට අරගෙන x අනිත් පැත්තට ගන්න. එතකොට ගාන වර්ධිනවා. පැහැදිලිද? right. හොඳයි. එහෙනම් අපි දැන් ගණන් කීපයකට යනවා. Y difference over x difference වලින් gradient එක ගන්න. Right. So we will now take the y difference over x difference and we will have the gradient of the equations. Right. So you know that you can see the O-level past papers in the new syllabus. You may have this type of one questions with 2 marks, right? So sometimes they have given the 2 points, and sometimes they may have given the drawn line segment having 2 points. Right, first example, so you can drop the answers after I do a few questions. Right, so the second question is here. Right, I have a line segment. Right, so they may have drawn this segment in class papers. You can see here 1,2, 5. Right. So you know that gradient equal y difference over x difference. In shortly, I write it as y upon x. Right. So still take the y coordinate here x1 and here y1. Here x2, y2. Okay. Right. Now I take here, I catch up this y coordinate, right, 5, subtract, and I catch up here y coordinate 2 over. So I took in this way, see this arrow, right, here to here y difference. Similarly, I take x difference also is starting from here to here, right? So 4 subtract here x coordinate 1. So 5 subtract 2 is 3 upon 4 subtract 1 is 3. So 3 upon 3 becomes 1. Got it? So now the gradient is 1. පැහැදිලිද? right ඕකයි කතාව එතකොට difference එක එක පැත්තකට එන්න ඕනේ right y difference over x difference ඕන තරම් O level papers වල තියෙනවා gradient එක හොයන්න පැහැදිලිද right that is fine so next question is for you right and also now we can see that the graph is in this way so it shall be positive value so we also have taken a positive value positive one so imagine mistakenly if we get a negative one so we can feel graph is in this way so it cannot be negative so if the graph is in this shape it shall be negative right but in this way it shall be positive right now we are moving to the second question right you can note down it and I will give questions you to do right now the graph is in this way and further I will tell you how the question is there as per the university content so I will give the deep depth of the question exactly okay right now here we have a straight line segment the points given 1 comma 3 and 3 comma 1 1 comma 3 3 comma 1 right so you can deal with this question and send me the answers to the chat the gradient you can note down the question and send me the answers to the chat okay okay well done right so you can start up here gradient equal y difference of x difference and further before you move to the questions you can imagine what is the sign of the gradient right tell me what is the sign of the gradient without doing anything as the very first step you can determine the gradient how here the graph in this shape right having an obtuse angle right then you feel that that shall be a negative gradient right we will start m equal gradient equal y difference over x difference y coordinate difference so I start here y difference 3 subtract here y is 1 upon x difference 1 subtract 3 so 3 subtract 1 means 2 1 subtract 3 means negative 2 so 2 upon 2 means 1 but remember positive divide by negative it becomes negative 1 so now the gradient is negative 1. So also you determine the answer. Yes, the graph is in this shape having an obtuse angle. So that shall be negative. Okay. So negative 1 is the answer. Right. So next question. Right. We can do this one. This is the straight line and 1, 5 and 4, 2. 1, comma 5 and 4, comma 2. Right. Have the gradient. You can see into the past papers later and you will see that this type of questions are there in the new syllabus to find the gradient. අද මේ ඉගෙන ගන්න එක කෙලින්ම පුතා පේපර් එකේ ගාන right කෙටි ප්‍රශ්නයක් අර අපි කියන්නේ පාර්ට් ටේබල් තියෙන ලකුණු දෙකේ ගාන මේ වගේ ගණන් ඕන තරම් තියෙනවා අපිට නිකන් මේවා සිම්පල් කියලා හිතුණාට ඕකත් වරද්දනවා ළමයි මොනවද මම කරන වැරදි කියන්නම් පළවෙනිම වැරද්ද තමයි y over x කියන එක x over y කියලා හිතනවා exam එක කරවස y over x over y පැටලෙනවා ඊළඟට වැරද්ද තැන තමයි y difference එක එක පැත්තකට අරගෙන x difference එක මාරු කරනවා අනිත් පැත්තට එතකොට gradient එක වරදිනවා එතකොට මම කියලා දුන්නා දැන් වැරදුනත් graph අර මම කියන්නේ හැම වෙලේම අපි ගානක් හිතද්දී ගානට රාමුවට කොටු වෙන්නේ නැතුව දැන් ගාන දැකපු ගමන් අපිට ඇඟට එනවා මෙහෙම graph slot එකක් segment එකක් තිබ්බ ගමන් right ඒක මේ අතට තියෙන්නේ නම් graph එක negative වෙන්න ඕනේ. මේක මේ අතට තියෙන්නේ එහෙනම් ඒකේ graph එකේ gradient එක negative වෙන්න ඕනේ. අන්න එහෙම ඇඟට ආපුවාම අපිට වැරදුනත් අපිට තේරෙනවා පොසිටිව් උත්තරයක් එන්න බෑ. නිකන් ගිරාවුවා ගියා රීල් ගහලා එන්න එපා. අර අපි කියන්නේ රාමුවෙන් පිටතට ඇවිල්ලා නිකන් එළියට ඇවිල්ලා ගානේ උත්තරේ දිහා බලන්න. right. එතකොට එහෙම තමයි අපිට maths වර්ධනයට කඩ කරගන්න පුළුවන්. right. So here the gradient you can see that here y difference I take in this way 5 subtract 2 upon x difference 1 subtract 4. So 5 subtract 2 means 3, 1 subtract 4 means negative 3. Now 3 upon 3 1, but positive upon negative signs are differ, so it becomes negative 1. So the answer is negative 1. Fine. So now you know how to find the gradient when the graph segment is drawn. Okay, right. So this is the bit difficult questions we have seen in recent years. This type of questions taken, right? For an example, the graph is drawn here x y, right? A graph is drawn in this way and they mention just one value, right? 4, right? And imagine here 6, just only 4 and 6 only, but you cannot have exact coordinates there. Okay, so here given 6, here given 4 only, but we know that to find the gradient we require 2 coordinates. So where we have the coordinates, right? So you have to convert these intercept. So that means this is the x-intercept and this is y-intercept, right? So you have to convert these points as coordinate. How? This is how you determine. Here the y-axis, on the y-axis you can connect to the x coordinate. X coordinate is 0. Remember, any point on the y-axis having x0 x coordinate, right? Any point, then y coordinate is this one 6. So 0, 6 we converted as a coordinate. Here any point y coordinate is 0 on the x-axis, but x coordinate is given as 4. So x is 4, connect to the y-axis to see the y coordinate, that is 0. So it gives you 4, 0. So that is how you convert as a 2 coordinates, right? Now it is similar to the previous question. How the gradient equal y difference over x difference, right? Y difference you take in this way, 6 subtract 1, 0 upon 0 subtract 4. Right, 6 upon negative 4, right? So you divide by here 2, 2, 3, 2, 2. Then it becomes negative 3 upon 2. So as a fraction, you can write negative 1.5. Negative 1.5 as a decimal, right? As a fraction, you can keep 3 upon 2. But it is negative. And also you feel, the graph is in this way, so it shall be negative. Okay, this is the bit difficult part. Where the coordinates are not given, the intercept to value is given. මොකක්ද දන්නවද මේකේ ළමයි කරන වැරද්ද? මේක coordinate එකක් විදිහට convert කරගන්න බැරුව යනවා. 0.6 දාන්නේ. සමහර වෙලාවට 6.0 ලියනවා. මෙතන වෙන එකක් ලියනවා 0.4. පැටලෙන්නේ නැතුව මතක තියාගන්න y කපාදි y intersect වෙද්දී y ගාව ඉන්නේ y axis intersect වෙද්දී එතන දීලා තියෙන්නේ y coordinate එක. 0 වෙන්නේ යාගේ opposition x0. On the x-intercept, x is given its opposition coordinate is 0, y is 0. හැම වෙලාවෙම යාගේ opposition විරුද්ධකාරය තමයි 0 වෙන්නේ. ඒක මතක තියාගන්න. එහෙනම් y axis මත කවුද 0 වෙන්නේ? යාගේ opposition x0. On the x-axis, its opposition y coordinates become 0. Right? Remember in that way. Okay, now you are okay when the intercepts are, when the points are given in this manner to find the gradient. මෙහෙම exam වලදී දෙනවා. Right. හොඳයි. එහෙනම් අපි දැන් ඊළඟ part එකට යමු. Right. Now you can write down the concept intercept. දැන් අර මං කිව්වේ paper class එකේ අපි ගත්ත පොතේම මේ ටික note කරගන්න පුළුවන් paper 1 එකනේ අපි දැන් discuss කරලා තියෙන්නේ theory part එකේ. Right, now we are discussing intercept. Right, condition ටිකක් මම කියලා දෙනවා intercept ගැන. ඒක අහගන්න intercept. Right, so intercept, so gradient is like the inclination in the simple manner, right? Gradient more means inclination more, right? But intercept is not like that concept. Intercept directly we can identify through the graph. Intercept means when we draw a straight line segment, it comes and cut the x-axis, sorry, cut the y-axis. So this is the y-axis cutting point. So that height means the y-coordinate of that y-axis is the intercept. So this height is the c, right? That is the intercept, right? If a graph is cutting in this way, right, you can see now it is having a higher intercept because the y-coordinate here more than this y-coordinate, right? If it is cutting, the graph is cutting the zero, means the origin, what happened, then the y-coordinate is zero, means no intercept there, zero intercept. Okay, right? So if the graph is cutting the bottom part of the axis, here the intercept is a negative value, here intercept is zero, here intercept is positive value. So it depends upon the point where the graph intersect with the y-axis. So that is the concept, right? But you see a general thing there, in all the point where the graph cut, right, the y-axis. So for a specific graph, there is only one specific intercept, right? එක graph එකකට intercept දෙකක් තියෙන්න බෑ y intercept, right? එහෙමනම් ඒක graph එකක් straight line එකක් වෙන්නේ නැහැ, right? මෙහෙම මේ වගේ එකකට y intercept දෙකක් ඉන්න පුළුවන් මේ, right? හැබැයි ඒක straight line එකක් නෙවෙයි. But for a straight line, it is having only one intercept. So where the graph cut the y-axis. But the similarity of these all the graph, they are having different intercepts, but see the x-coordinate of all the intercept, right? If I convert the coordinate of this, imagine here 0,6. So x-coordinate 0, here x-coordinate 0,5, here x-coordinate 0, the y-coordinate is the intercept, that is 2. Imagine here x-coordinate 0 as well as y-coordinate 0. Here x-coordinate 0, y-coordinate is -2. Right, you see a very good concept here. What is the concept? In all the manner, what happened, the x-coordinates of all the intercepts are 0, right? So now you know how to identify intercept when the coordinate is given, right? Imagine a graph is passing through this point 0,6, 0,5, 0,2, 0,0, right? So how to identify if it is an intercept or not? If it is an intercept, that coordinate, remember that one. මේක හොඳට මතක තියාගන්න. graph එකක් මේ points through pass වෙනවා කිව්වොත් 0, point එකක් දීලා ඒ කියන්නේ ආ intercept එක. එතකොට එතනින් intercept coordinate එක. එතකොට එහා පැත්තේ ඉන්න කෙනා තමයි intercept එක වෙන්නේ. So what is the intercept there? 6. What is the intercept there? 5. What is the intercept here? 2. Intercept 0, intercept -2. Right. Sometimes in the equations they will not directly say this is the intercept, but they say that it passes through 0, point. Right. If the graph is straight line pass in this format coordinate 0, something, right? The something is the intercept. This is something, whatever, -1, +2, 10, 2, whatever value, that is the intercept value. But the format shall be 0, something. So if says the graph passing through 2, 3, right? We cannot say that 3 is the intercept, because if it is the intercept, the x-coordinate shall be 0, because on the y-axis x-coordinate is always 0. So we cannot say in this type of coordinate it is the intercept. But in these all formats we can identify the intercept. Right? Okay, විභාගෙට exam එකට අපිට අහන්න දෙයක් ගානක් තුල අපි ඒක අඳුර ගන්න ඕනේ. Right. Right. Now this type of questions regarding the intercept. Right now you know what is the intercept of a graph, and when the graph is drawn, and also you know how to identify through the graph the intercept. Right. Now I will move to questions this type. Right. Example, the intercept of a graph is 1, and it passes through point point 2 comma 5, right? So what they're asking to find the gradient. First part, find the gradient. Second part, write the equations of the straight line. Right. ඔන්න බලන්න මේ ප්‍රශ්නේ මෙන්න මේ වගේ ඒවා අහන්න පුළුවන් මේ පාර එක්සෑම් එකටත්. Right. Okay. See there. Intercept is 1. Intercept 1 කියන්නේ අපිට coordinate එකක් දුන්නා වගේ තමයි. Right? Intercept එක 1 කියන්නේ අපිට coordinate එකක් ආවා වගේ. ඇයි අපි coordinate එක 0 හැම වෙලෙම, right? Its x coordinate is 0 and the y coordinate is 1. Now we know that if I draw a sketch that passes the intercept 1 means it cut the y-axis at 1, but here its coordinate is 0. So I can convert as a coordinate 0, 1. Right. Next, we have given another coordinate 2, 5. So we know that we have two coordinates. So with use of two coordinates, we can write the gradient. How? M equal y difference of x difference. Now we converted the intercept as a coordinate. Now take the difference of y. 5 subtract 1 upon 2 subtract 0. Then 5 subtract 1 means 3 upon 2 subtract 0 means 2. So the gradient is 3 upon 2 as a fraction. The intercept, if the intercept is given as a value, how to find the gradient? Intercept is known means a coordinate is known. How? The intercept is y coordinate and the x coordinate is 0. That's how we converted it as a coordinate, and also we have another coordinate. With use of these two, we can convert as a gradient. Right? You can note it down. Right. Okay, now we are moving to another questions, right? You can continue it. Right, this is the second questions. This is for you to do, right? Here we have the intercept 2, right? Intercept 2, right? And it passes through, I write it shortly, it passes through point 3, 6. So first part, find the gradient. The second part, find the equation, right? Equation of the straight line, right? You can continue with me. Right, start up. Right. So how to do that? Intercept 2 means you know a point. What is that point? 0, 2. Because x coordinate is 0 always in the intercept. And another points we have 3, 6. Okay. Now you know you have 2 points. How to find the gradient? M equal y difference over x difference. Right. Y difference over x difference. So 6 subtract 2. Right. Divide by 3 subtract 0. So 6 subtract 2 means 4 upon 3. So gradient gives you now 4 upon 3. Okay, 4 upon 3 is the gradient. Now, how to find the equation of the straight line? You know that y equal mx plus c. y equal mx plus c is the format of the straight line. Now instead of m, you can substitute 4 upon 3. 4 upon 3 x, right, plus c is the gradient, sorry, intercept is 2. So plus 2 is there. So what is the equation? Y equal 4 upon 3x plus 2. That's reading, right? Okay, tamai kataw. Right. කොහොම අපි equation එක දෙන්නේ අපිට එතකොට හොයා ගන්න ඕනේ මොකද්ද gradient එක හොයා ගන්න ඕනේ because intercept is given as point. We can write it as a point. With use of that point and the given point we wrote the gradient, then we have the intercept. Substitute to this equation y equal mx plus c, right? M is 4 upon 3, c is plus 2, right? Okay, right. Okay, now you know that type of questions. බලන්න මේක මම වර්ග ටිකක් කියලා දෙන්නේ ගණන්ගෙන. ඒ ටික හරියටම සෙට් නම් වැඩේ ගොඩ දාගන්න පුළුවන්. හරි? මේ types වලට යන්නේ. එතකොට මේ විදිහට තමයි විභාගෙදී ප්‍රශ්න ටික එන්නේ. right. දැන් ඒතර අපිට intercept එක දීලා තව point එකක් දුන්නොත් පුළුවන්. කොහොමද gradient එක හොයන්නේ? intercept එක point එකක් වගේ තමයි. 0, the intercept විදිහට ලියාගත්තා. Y difference of x difference. By use of that equations you can find the gradient. Right. Next one, when the equation is given, how to find the gradient and the intercept, right? Subtopic එක. Right. Take the subtopic here. Right. When the equation is given, how to identify the gradient and the intercept. මේක පරණ syllabus එකේ ගොඩක් ආවා. equation එක දීලා එයාගේ gradient එක intercept එක අඳුර ගන්න. හැබැයි new syllabus එකේ මේ වගේ ප්‍රශ්න ටිකක් අඩුයි. එන්නේ අර විදිහට line segment එකක් ඇඳලා හෝ coordinates දීලා gradient එක හොයනවා තමයි වැඩිපුරම ඇවිල්ලා තියෙන්නේ. ඊට අමතරව equation එක හොයනවා කීපයක් ඇවිල්ලා තියෙන නිසා හොඳට මේ concept අල්ල ගන්න. ඒකට ඔයාලට අද ගිහිල්ලා past previous ප්‍රශ්න බලන්න හැම අවුරුද්දකම එක ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙනවා. කෙටි ප්‍රශ්නයක්. ඒතර ප්‍රශ්න පහ අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම ඔයාලට කරන්න පුළුවන්. මේ මට්ටමට theory ටික උගන්වනවා. පැහැදිලිද? ඒතර මේ වගේ sessions අපි මාසෙකට කීපයක් cover කරනවා මගේ time allocation එකත් එක්ක බලලා. හැබැයි ස්ථිරවම අපි Saturday class එක යනවා ඒ time එකට. ඊට අමතරව අපි Sunday එකක් හෝ දෙකක් නැත්නම් තුනක් පුළුවන් වෙලාවට මම උපරිමයෙන්ම කරලා ඔයාලට මේ theory part එකක් cover කරලා දෙනවා. right. හොඳයි. එහෙනම් අපි දැන් ඊළඟ part එකට යමු. සිග්නල් එකක් එනවා මම රෙකෝඩින් එක දීලා තියෙන මට මතක විදිහට රෙකෝඩ් වෙනවානේ. ඔව් රෙකෝඩ් එක තියෙනවා. ඒක ගන්නත් පුළුවන්. පොඩි පොඩි ගැටලු තියෙනවා කියලා ඒවල තියෙනවා. හරි. okay. Second one, the equation is given y equal, you know that what is the format of the straight line graph, y equal mx plus c, right? So y equal mx plus c. M is the gradient. How to identify that one? That is the coefficient of x. X is sangudak. X is coefficient of x. That is the gradient. And after that, that c part is the intercept. Okay. So how to identify? The front value to the x is the gradient. Then thereafter the constant is the intercept. But you can see here y to be subjected. Y subject වෙලා ඉන්න ඕනේ. Y විතරයි තනි වෙලා ඉන්න ඕනේ පැත්තක. If it is 2y, 3y, 4y, we cannot say that is the x coefficient is a gradient. Y to be subjected. If only that we can say that. Okay. For an example, I take y equal, right? See here, y equal 3x plus 2. So now you can see whether y is subjected or not. Yes, y is subjected. Only y is there. So x front value, the coefficient of x is the gradient, that is m. M is 3. And then after that value is the intercept, that is c. So now you can say that m equal positive 3 and c equal positive 2. Okay, fine. So next question, y equal, right, see that negative 2x, right, plus 1. So how to identify the gradient and intercept? Gradient is the front value of the x code x, that is negative 2, and intercept is the after value plus 1. Right, okay, that is negative 2 and here positive 1. Got it? right? Then third one, y equal, right, minus x. So what happened? Y equal there, no issue, you check that one. Then x coefficient, that is -1. Negative mark is there, but you know that negative means here -1 is there, it's even constant. So gradient is -1, so you cannot see a constant after that, after the x terms. That means no constant, zero intercept, right? C is 0. So which type of graph this one? This is passing through the origin, right? Okay, fourth one, you have, okay, now these are fine, right? You can practice it. Y to be subjected. Once y is subjected, x coefficient is the gradient, and thereafter the constant is the intercept. Okay. උතර අහගන්න අවශ්‍ය දේ නෝට් කරගන්න ගැටලු හදාගන්න නිකන් උඩිය බලාගෙන ඉඳපුවා ගිරව් වගේ එහෙම උනාට සබ්ජෙක්ට් එක පිළිටන්නේ නැහැ උතර ඒකේ යෙදෙන්න මම ගණන් හදනකොට ඒ වගේ යෙදෙන්න right next one y equal right 2y equal right 4x plus 3 right on the case එක දැන් ඕක තමයි ළමයි වරද්දන්නේ right දැකපු ගමන් දෙන්නම වැඩි අපි ඉගෙනගෙන තියෙනවා y equal mx plus x the coefficient එක 4 gradient 4 intercept 3 කියලා දානවා දාපු ගමන් වැරදි උත්තරේ right මොකද වෙන්න ඕනේ y to be subjected but here y is not subjected it is 2y right now you have to subject y how you subject here divide by 2 all the terms divide all the terms by 2 to subject y so now 2 cancelled y equal 4 upon 2 means now you can divide 4 divide by 2 that is 2x plus here you cannot exactly divide so write it as a fraction 3 upon 2 okay now the equations y equal y is subjected right now okay now the x coefficient is 2 now you can say that gradient is 2 and the intercept is 3 upon 2 right that's how you deal with the equations okay gradient and intercept පැහැදිලිද පුතා right ඕකයි හොද්දට ඔළුවට දා ගන්න ඕනේ right එහෙනම් මම ගාන આવුත් මම බලනවා මේක y subjected නැද්ද subject නොවේ නම් මට කියන්න බෑ එකපාරම එහෙනම් මම y to be subjected right here this type of question you can note down it okay right the second question is y upon 3 equal right x plus 2 here also y is not subjected right y upon 3 they are in fraction mode so this upon 3 is a disturbance to us to subject y so what we do the upon 3 to be eliminated by multiplication 3 here division 3 there so this is an equations we have to do the any changes to all the terms right what I do I multiply by 3 all the terms equal here x multiplied by 3 plus 2 multiplied by 3 so now 3 being cancelled so y equal 3x plus 6 now it becomes as y subject right now you can write x coordinate is 3 that is the gradient and this is the intercept okay you can write it down do examples these are the important parts the third formats how the exam questions given right right so what the mix plus is the gradient how I write that right now we are moving to the next part I think that is fine to you so I will give one example you to do right so we have the equation so I will have the equations this one 3y equal to x plus 3, right? So I am asking find, right, gradient and intercept of the, right, of the equation, right? Gradient and the intercept of the equations. Right. Find it. 3y equal to x plus 3. Of the equation, right? Gradient and the intercept of the equations. Right. So here 3y equal to x plus 3, y to be subjected, right? Y is not subjected here. So how you deal with the question, right? Divide by 3 all the terms, because multiplying y with 3, so you have to eliminate that, divide by 3. So 3 cancelled, y equal 2 upon 3x plus 1. So now you can feel that y equal mx plus c. So x coefficient is the gradient. Now you can see that 2 upon 3 is the gradient. And here the intercept is the plus 1 thereafter. Right. So m equal to upon 3 and c equal 1. Fine. right එහෙනම් ඒ type questions පැහැදිලි ඔයාලට මේක note එකක් විදිහට හදාගන්න. ඒ කියන්නේ ගණන් ටික හදාගන්න. එතකොට ඉබේම ඔයාලට තේරෙනවා මෙන්න මේ type තමයි අපිට exam එකේ ඉන්න පුළුවන් කියලා. right. Okay, now we are moving to the next part. See clearly. Right. So now identify this type of question. Right, a graph is passing through point 2 comma 0 and right 0 comma 6. A graph passing through is 2 comma 0 and 0 comma 6. Right, first question, find the gradient. The second one, write the equation. Find the equation of the straight line. Right. So first question, find the gradient. So you know that to find the gradient, we should have 2 points. Is it given? Yes, 2 comma 0 and 0 comma 6. Clearly 2 points are there. So we can find the gradient. How we know that? Y difference over x difference. Y coordinate difference over x coordinate difference. Shortly I write y upon x. Right. Now you can see these are the 2 points. I will take near here 2 comma 0, 0 comma 6. So catch up the y coordinate. So y is 6 here, y is 0 there. So 6 subtract 0. I come to that way. 6 subtract 0 upon x difference. Similar way, 0 subtract 2. Right. So it becomes 6 upon negative 2. Then 6 upon 2, 3. But positive, negative 3. Okay, negative 3 is there. Fine. So first part is done. The gradient is okay. But now the case equations. To find the equations, we should have 2 things. What are they? The gradient and the intercept. So the gradient is found, but what is the intercept? They haven't given any intercept value. What? Remember, in previous session, I told that by looking into the coordinates, you can identify the intercept coordinate. How? You know that in the intercept, I told that the x coordinate must equal 0. So out of these 2 points, there is a point having x coordinate 0. What is that point here? Why did y coordinate 0? But that is not the y intercept. The intercept is here because x coordinate 0 there. So x coordinate 0 means that is the coordinate of intercept. So intercept coordinate, right? Which intercept? Y intercept. That is what we need. Right. So now you can catch up. This is the intercept value then. So intercept is 6. So by looking into the coordinate, you understood the intercept c equals 6. Now you can write the equation y equal mx plus c. Instead of m and c, you substitute the value. M is negative 3x plus c. C is now 6 plus 6. So the graph equations become y equal negative 3x plus 6. Right. කොතනින්ද මෙතන point එක තියෙන්නේ මේ දෙන්න දිහා බලලා අඳුරගත්තා intercept එක කවුද මොන point එකද කියලා. මෙයා එයාගේ 6 තමයි intercept එක. right. okay note down කරගන්න බලන්න equations එන විදිහ මේ වගේ එකක් තමයි exam එකට එන්නේ. right මේ විදිහේ format එක ළමයිට මේ theory නැත්තම් පුතා හදන්න බෑ ගාන. gradient එක හොයා they know that 2 points are there but they do not know exactly what is the intercept and how to find the intercept as a coordinate. right. ඔක බලන්න ලංකාවේ බහුතරයක් දෙනාට ඔය theory knowledge එක නෑ පුතා. alright. theory ටික හරියටම තියෙන්න ඕනේ ගණන් හදන්න නම්. ඒ කියන්නේ intercept කියන එක මොකක්ද දන්නේ නැතුව ගණන් හදන්න බෑ. intercept එක නිකන් ඉලක්කමක් කියලා හිතුවොත් ගණන් හදන්න බෑ. intercept එක කියන්නේ මොකක්ද? කොහොමද මේක ආවේ? කොහොමද එතකොට මේ coordinate එක හැදුනේ? අන්නේ ඇයි කියන එක හැම වෙලේම අපි maths වල තර්ක කරන්න ඕනේ. මේක වෙන්නේ ඇයි? මේක උනේ ඇයි? right. මේක ආවේ කොහොමද? එතකොට අපිට ඕන ගානක් හදන්න පුළුවන්. නැත්නම් අපි වෙන්නේ අර අපි කියන්නේ අර ඉලක්කම් වලට කොටු වෙලා අපි අමාරු වැටීමක් විතරයි වෙන්නේ. හොඳ රිසල්ට් එකකට solid රිසල්ට් එකකට යන්න බෑ. හරි. එහෙනම් ඒක පැහැදිලි. මේ ගාන ඔයාලට දෙනවා. එතකොට මේකේ හොයන්න බලන්න මට chat එකට දාන්න gradient එකයි equation එකයි හොයන්න ඕන. The graph passing through these 2 points, right? 0,1. The graph passing through 0,1 and 3,5. The graph passing through 0,1 and 3,5. Find the first one gradient. Well, find the gradient. The second one, find the equation of the straight line. Equation. To find the equation, we require gradient as well as the intercept. So once you found both, you can write the equation. Right. බලන්න හදලා දාන්න chat එකට gradient and the equation. Equation in the form of y equal mx plus c. Right. 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 So now we will find the gradient. You know that gradient equal y difference over x difference. Right. Y difference how you take? I take in this way y difference. Y here, here y. So 5 subtract 1 upon in that way 3 subtract 0. Right. X difference. So 5 subtract 1 means 4 upon 3 subtract 0 means 3. So that is the gradient. So to find the equation, we require the intercept. How to find the intercept? Right. Out of these two coordinates, right, 0 comma something is given here. So after the 0, that is the intercept. Right. One. Have you understood? Right. By looking into the two coordinates, right? C coordinate, this one is the C because the x coordinate is 0. Make intercept එකද නෑ x coordinate එක 0 නෑ. Right. අන්න එහෙම අපි අඳුර ගන්න. right? Okay, now that is fine. C equal 1 and gradient equal 4 upon 3. Okay, now the equation you know that y equal mx plus c. Instead of m and c, substitute these things. M equal 4 upon 3, x plus c is 1. Right, that is the equation. දැන් මේකේ පේපර් එකක් නෝට් එකක් දාලා නෑ මම PDF එකක් ඔයාලා දැන් අර පේපර් ක්ලාස් එක ලියන පොතේ ලියාගත්තට ප්‍රශ්නයක් නෑ paper number 1 theory number 1 right එහෙම යන්න ඒක අවශ්‍ය දේවල් ටික නෝට් කරගන්න එක පාර ටික පොතක් තියාගන්න 100ක් පොතක් ඒතර ඒ ටික වැඩ කරගත්තාම උඩ දාගන්න පුළුවන් ඒ ටික බලපුවාම ආයෙත් තේරෙනවා හරි right now we move to the next part. This is the big difficult part. මේක තමයි අමාරුම වැඩේ. Right. ලියාගන්න මේ ගාන. right මේ වගේ ගානක් ආවොත් මේ වගේව ගොඩාක් අඩු වෙනවා හැබැයි කවුරුද්දක මට මතක විදිහට මේක ආවා a graph passes through ලියාගන්න a graph passes through two comma 3 and 6 comma 9 right first one find the gradient of the equation second one find the equation of the straight line find the equation of the straight line right බලන්න අපි බලමු එක right then find the gradient so it is fine for us because 2 points are given points දෙකක් තියෙනවා නම් gradient එක nothing right so gradient is y difference over x difference see there 9 subtract 3 y difference over x difference 6 subtract 2 බලන්න එක පැත්තටම එන්න ඕනේ 9 subtract 3 similarly 6 subtract 2 right the 9 subtract 3 means 6 upon 6 subtract 2 means 4 right now you can simplify 2 to the 3 to 2. So the gradient is 3 upon 2. Okay. Now m is known. But the case now, by looking into the coordinates, you cannot find the intercept. Why? You know that the intercept format is 0 comma something. But can you see any coordinate 0 comma? X coordinate 0, any coordinate is there? No. Here x coordinate 2, here x coordinate 6. Then what to do? This is the bit difficult part. So now we do not have the intercept, right? So I write the equation without intercept. Y equal mx plus c. Instead of m, I substitute, I have the m value, m3 upon 2 x, right, plus c. 2 upon 3 upon 2x plus intercept. Intercept is not known. I write it as c. So can I give the equation in this format? No, it's not acceptable. Why? Because c is not known value yet. C to be given. Now I write the equation in this way. The other thing, this is the equation I need. That equation passes through these 2 points. So if any equation passes through a point, mean that particular point is satisfied the equation. So that is satisfied the equation. So what we can now do, we can substitute any point here to the equation and we can find out the corresponding c for the y and x coordinate. Right. පැහැදිලිද? ඒතර මේ points දෙක through යනවා කියන්නේ මේ line එක. If one straight line passing through a point mean a point, that point A is satisfied the equation of the straight line. So what we can do, that coordinate to be satisfied, into the equation, right? For instead of y and x, I substitute any coordinate out of these two. So I have 2, 3. I substitute this into 3 upon 2x plus c. See there clearly. So here x coordinate is 2 and y coordinate is 3. So for x I substitute 2, y substitute 3. Now substitute for this equation. Y3 equal 3 upon 2 into x. X coordinate is 2 plus c. So now you can see 2, 2 cancelled out. Now here 3 equal 3 plus c, right? Subject c there, 3 equal 3 plus c. Subject c, 3 goes to the other side, then c become 0, right? C becomes 0. Now the intercept is 0 here, right? So now you can see that here intercept value 0, but not all the time c becomes 0. There may be values. So c becomes 0 means it passes through the origin, right? So now you can write the equation y equal 3 upon 2 x. Y equal 3 upon 2 x. Okay. Right. ලියාගන්න points ටික වැදගත්ම point එකක්. මේක තමයි එන්න පුළුවන් අමාරුම ප්‍රශ්නය. මොන වගේ ප්‍රශ්නයක්ද? points දෙකක් දෙනවා equation එක අහනවා. හරි? හැබැයි එක point එකක්වත් 0, format එකේ නැහැ. point දෙක දීලා gradient එක අහන එක තමයි ගොඩාක්ම අවුරුදු වල ආවේ. හැබැයි equation එක අහුවොත් ටිකක් equation එක බරපතලයි. හැබැයි first paper එකේ අපි බොහෝ වෙලාවට මේ equation එක මේ වගේ එකපාර intercept catch up කරගන්න බැරි අවස්ථා එනවා බොහෝම අඩුයි. right හැබැයි අපි ඒක තීරි පාඩයක් විදිහට ඉගෙන ගන්න බැරි වෙලාවට අපිට second paper එකේ හරි මොනවා හරි අපිට පැරබෝලා එකත් එක්ක මේ වගේ deal එකක් ආවොත් මේ කරගන්නත් පුළුවන්. හරි? ඒක note කරගන්න ඉතාම වැදගත්. right okay finish writing. right Right. So these are the conditions, Puta, right? These are the conclusion, right? So what are the conclusions we learned, right? I think you have written all the things, right? Basically, remember this concept as a conclusion. These are the theory parts of the first paper. Right now, you can deal with the past papers even. You can see the questions. Right. This is the conclusion. Everyone concentrate on this one. This is what we discussed up to now. Right. We first understood what is the gradient. Gradient is like the inclination. If the inclination with the x-axis is more, right, it means it is having a high gradient. But if it goes as obtuse angle, right, then it becomes negative, right? Then how to find the gradient? Two coordinates to be given, right? Imagine x1, y1. This is our conclusion of today's lesson. x2, y2. How to find the gradient? You know that y difference over x difference, that is the gradient, right? This is the general formula of y difference over x difference. Okay, so in the exam, we have mostly seen that 2 points of the line segments are given as coordinate and asking the gradient. So now you know correctly how to apply this into the equation and how to find the gradient. Fine. So sometimes difficult part, right? A line segment is drawn, right, as having 2 values only, x-intercept, like I did 4 and here 6 only. Then what we did, we converted it as coordinate. All the times the y on the y-axis x coordinate 0, x-axis y coordinate 0. Okay. Then we know that how to find the gradient when 2 points are known. Okay. The other points we discussed, we may have the intercept given, right, and one coordinate given. Intercept and one coordinate. So you also know that intercept means a coordinate. What is the format of that coordinate? 0, comma the intercept, right, and other coordinate. Again, now we have two coordinates, so we can make the gradients. Finally, right. Later we discuss about what is the concept of intercept. Intercept is the point where the y-axis, the graph cut the y-axis, right? That is the intercept. So we understood the intercept concept, right? Then we found that when the intercept given and a point given as we discussed here, right? Further, we discuss how to find the gradient and intercept where the equation is given y equal mx plus c. So I told you that the equations y to be subjected and then c the x coefficient is the gradient and the other constant is the intercept. Okay, right. Then you know how to deal with that equations. Right. Later, I discuss when the graph is drawn, how to find the gradient and intercept, and when point, when a point and imagine 2 points are given, but neither point is having intercept, right? So in that case, we find the gradient. This is difficult part, and we write the equation y equal gradient x plus c as it is. Then substitute 1 points to that equation and satisfy it and find the corresponding intercept there. So that is the most difficult part we discuss at last, right? So this is very important thing. You know that we may not have the equations. Right. අපිට ලැබෙන්නේ නෑ පුතා විභාගෙට දැන් අපි දන්නවා 4 quarters තියෙනවා coordinate plane එකේ. This is the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter. So you know that I didn't discuss any points, right, having x coordinate or y coordinates negative. දැන් මම අර gradient හොයන ඒ වගේ එකකවත් negatives කතා කරාද නැහැ. ඒ කියන්නේ එහෙනම් මේ quadrant එකට යන්නේ නැහැ. First second quadrant එකට coordinates. Third quadrant nothing because here x coordinate 0. Here x coordinate positive but y coordinate is negative, right? Okay, so now you know that in the exam, right, it says clearly in the exam in the first paper it shall be given a graph part of the first quadrant only, right? So it may not have the graph part in other three quadrants. So that means only the x and y both are positive coordinates are given, right? That's much easy, right? So the graph may be drawn in this way if they draw or in this manner, right? There may be not graph in these quadrants, right? This so it is very easy. You deal with only the x and y both positive coordinates, right? Okay, please තබා ගන්න මේ quadrant එකේ විතරයි graph segment එකේ මේ first paper එකේ. Right. ඉතින් ඕක තමයි theory part එක පුතා. Clearly අඩුවක් නැතුව එන්න පුළුවන් paper එකේ content එක කරා ඔයාලා දැන් past previous අවුරුදු 4 බලන්න පුළුවන් 2016 onwards, right? 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, right? And see that questions comes under the graph part 1 and see whether you can do it or not. When we learn something, right, we should have the capability to do the past papers. Otherwise, we didn't learn up to that extent. අපි මේ මට්ටමට ඉගෙනගෙන නැහැ නැත්තම් එන හැම වෙලේම ඕනම විෂයක අපි බලන්න ඕන අපි යම් කිසි තීර එකක් ඉගෙන ගත්තාම ඊට රිලේට් ෆාස්ට් වේව්ස් කරන්න පුළුවන්ද කියලා ෆාස්ට් වේව්ස් කරන්න බෑ කියන අපි මේ මට්ටමට ඒ ලෙවල් එකට ඇවිල්ලා නැහැ. හරි. ඕක තමයි පාර්ට් එක. ඒතර අද අපි තීර පාර්ට් එකකුත් කතා කරා. එතකොට අපි වෙන්ස්ඩේ දානවා paper number 2. එතකොට වෙන්ස්ඩේ ඔයාලට ඒක බලන්න පුළුවන්. ඒක කරලා ඊට පස්සේ අපි Saturday 7:30 ආයෙ paper discussion එකකට එනවා. detailed paper discussion එකකට 7:30 ද අපි fixed date එක Saturday අපි දාට එතකොට ඒක කතා කරමු. එහෙනම් ජය වේවා අපි හැමෝටම. එහෙනම් අපි හම්බෙමු ඊළඟ සතියේ.